I didn't start out playing slot machines or slot machines. I started out playing dice when I was 12, 13 years of age. I started playing dice in the projects with some of the older guys. There's a few of the young guys like, well, maybe I should mention names, guys that I hung out with. At least a couple of them have passed away. Back then in the, 70s and 80s, I was already pretty much kind of hooked on dice, rolling dice, casinos. Obviously, I'm not going to walk into a casino at 12 or 13 years of age, because back then, to me, those things didn't exist. And from there, it just escalated. I continued to, even outside of the projects, sometimes I would play with my friend. I remember, I'll mention Louis and Jose. We used to gamble. We used to roll dice quite a bit. Then after that, my teen years were very reckless. My teen years were very, very reckless. I didn't have any real security during my childhood, so I got away with a lot of stuff. I picked up things I learned from my brother, sneaky things. It had to do with pills, my dad's prescription pills, and other things. My brother was a big influence since we stayed in the same room. Even though he was gone most of the time, he was a big influence. My brother was a big influence in my life. I don't know if he realizes this. I don't think I've ever really told him this. He was a big influence. Well, I made poor decisions. I tried to make a few good decisions along the way. I tried to join the track team in high school. That didn't work out very well. Nearly broke my neck one day in the gym trying to do some pole vaulting. We got involved with wrestling. I was very scared. I don't remember ever having a real match. I just went along with my buddy Robert. He was more of the wrestler. I was a very scared young boy. A lot of people didn't realize it, because that's what I learned. I learned fear very early on. My father taught me well. He taught me how to be organized, and he taught me how to be clean. But he taught me how to fear very well. It escalated from there. Poor relationships, many broken relationships that I've had. Promiscuity very, very early on. Oh, I remember the things that we would do. We were little kids. We didn't have any real security. We roamed the back of the houses, the projects. If we could get into apartment buildings that were empty, we would do that. It was poor decision making, very reckless lives. And of course, the more you do, the more you learn, and the worse it becomes, because it becomes more of a stronger habit. When I went into the Navy at the age of 18, I was supposed to go into the Marines, but that didn't work out. So the Navy ended up deceiving me, is what they did. I shouldn't say the Navy, the recruiters, because they told me that they were going to send me to computers. They were going to put me in a computer category. I had just graduated from a school of computers, word and data processing. I was on my way to see the Marine recruiters, but they weren't there that day. The Navy recruiters were there. Figure that out. 2 weeks later, I'm gone. On my way to computer school, I thought. No, I ended up in engineering on a USS aircraft carrier, the Big E. Well, I gambled on and off when we could. It wasn't every day, but we gambled on the ship. I wasn't really going to casinos at this point, but I was gambling. Scratchers. The scratchers got worse after I got out of the Navy. But during those years, I remember gambling below decks. We would gather together, 8, 9, 10 of us. And I don't ever remember winning. And of course, when you're out at sea, you have a lot of money in your pockets. At least you think that way. So my introduction into the casino ended up through rolling dice, playing craps. I started out going to Reno back in the early 90s. That's when I started being introduced to the casinos, was way back in the 90s, I believe. Mid 90s or so. Early 90s. And that just went on and on until it got worse and worse. And over the years, I just kept gambling and gambling. Driving up to Reno, coming back. Next thing you know, I'm going to all kinds of different casinos. Jackson, Juchance, the Bay Area, Sacramento. I was all over the place driving. Hiding the Sears truck, by the way. If you haven't seen that video, I was hiding the Sears truck. And that was my introduction to the slot machines. It was through the craps table. It was actually through the craps table. Yeah. Well, I'll end with this one and we'll talk more about my journey and what's been happening, what's happening today and where we're going and how I can help you on the other side. The world's #1 problem gambling interventionist, Santos Rolon Jr., Stockton, California, soldiersofselfmastery.com. I'll see you at the top on the inside of my very next one.